This is Andy with AJ Lawn Services. You can see me there. So Barbara contacted me about this big cleanup and possible monthly maintenance, and also probably a mulch job. But anyway, I'll just start with the initial cleanup. There's things like this, the lights, Christmas lights. I'm guessing you would probably like to have off the tree. We'll cut back everything that needs to be cut back. We'll rake and blow out all the leaves. We'll cut back the branches and like these lilacs that are absolutely dead. We'll clean up. There's more dead in there. There's big bags of like compost and fertilizer. The compost we can probably find a place for on the property and just sort of move it around, maybe into one of the beds. I would suggest we cut back this to the ground, this sucker, and this other stump. We have a chainsaw. I think for now I would say leave these two suckers. It gives a little bit of, I guess, character to that area, but there's just a ton of there's stuff like this that can be hauled away. There's a little bit of fencing there that can be hauled away. I was going to leave, my idea of the only thing I was going to leave really was the ladder, if you want, the lawnmower, and then there was something else. I can't remember, but this is basically what we're looking. I'll take you around the other side. So I went through this already and figured out we're gonna blow out and rake out all the leaves along the fence line. There's some dead lilac pieces. There's another trunk there that needs to come out, and just things that aren't in place, like the two aspens. I would say take those out. Let the lilacs do their job in here. There's some like crabapple type trees that are just sort of encroaching. There's this dead tree here. There's just a bunch of dead, and there's trash back in there, containers and just bags and stuff like that. So, and then there's a bunch of raking in front and things like that. For whatever reason, there's a bunch of crabapple trees that are just kind of leaning over. And so we'll cut those at the base and get rid of those. You've got a nice forsythia bush here that has those yellow flowers in the beginning of the year. And then there's like some broken branches that we'll take care of. I also believe this crabapple tree that's leaning should be taken out. It just seems out of place. And you also have this crabapple tree here that's leaning. That will never stand back up on its own. So that should be taken out as well. You've got a bunch of metal edging in the back that people don't really use anymore. We can donate that. There's some pipes here that can be donated. There's containers that can be hauled away. There's all random old tools that are kind of out that are rusty. Here's the different perspective. Here's the fence that you've got here. We'll haul that away. A bunch of tomato cages can get hauled. You've got kind of a Siberian elm here that needs to go, and some dead in and among those choke cherries. And everything else back here I think should go. We can leave the sawhorses if you want, but I'm not sure if those are meaningful at all to you. But everything would be cleaned out, raked, weed whacked the patio, so this just looks nice and clean. There's a kind of fencing there that's been overtaken by weeds. There's a bunch of weeds sort of along this fence line where the fence fell. All these choke cherries in here and these little raised beds should be cut back to the ground. And then obviously through the whole section back there would get blowers and rakes and just blow everything out and make everything look nice. Here's the flagstone. I guess that was one thing. I don't really believe this is that usable. There might be a couple pieces, but we can definitely donate that to Resource. There's some lumber in here like that can be donated. There's some random bags of mulch. Maybe the brown mulch could go down lower. I guess it's all brown. That could maybe be used on site as like a starter layer, and then the mulch, the Washington cedar dark brown mulch that we're going to use could maybe go on top. So there's some screens, there's chairs. I guess this is the other thing here, is there's some pots. I don't know if you want us to keep those someplace, but there's just a lot that can be tossed. Fencing, the fencing can probably be donated as well, and the lumber that can be donated. But minimal cleanup as far as leaves on the side, and then we're back to the front. There's more shrubs in here that have the Christmas lights. I'm just guessing that you'd probably like those out. Barbara asked me to take down the little ghost figure. There are a couple shovels here that are probably still usable. We could leave around the side. We could leave the wheelbarrow. We could leave an extension cord, but there's just a lot that could probably just be tossed. I will leave these 2x10s here in that stack that's there. I'm not sure what that's doing, but I'll take care of that. You've got some broken branches on some lilacs in the front. Would come through and cut back everything that we need to get, that needs to be cut back from the fall, and rake up all the leaves in these little sections, rake and blow out in the star area as well. And there's more Christmas lights there that are pretty well tangled, that probably just should be tossed, would be my idea. And then you've got some bulbs coming up. There's some of these bulbs, the little I think those are like hyacinths, and then you've got some tulips coming up. So before we just come in and do a bunch of mulch, I would like to at least get the cleanup done and maybe see what's coming back through, and maybe do the mulch job end of March, beginning of April. And cut back some of that shrub there off the driveway, just to make things look nice. A little bit should be taken off this juniper, just so people can walk a little bit easily. It's not too bad, but just things like that. But there's just I didn't point out everything that needs to be hauled, but just there's a ton of just trash that needs to go. I would say the front is a lot less work than the back. The back is probably 4 or 5 times what we're going to be doing in the front. So if that all sounds good, we'd be happy to get this done for you folks in the next, maybe even this upcoming week. We can get a start on it. But multi-day project for a crew of 3 or 4 people. And then like the bench, that bench needs to get hauled away. And I was thinking we'd leave all the raised beds that are sort of like that are kind of scattered around the property, and then people can do what they'd like with them. Another suggestion would be even just to spend a few minutes, maybe just to tighten up this part of the star, since it's right in the front. Just spend maybe even 30 minutes just kind of tightening that up and making it look better, and maybe a little bit safer since it's a curb appeal. And that's about it. Looks like there's a bunch of mail there. Yeah, we can leave any usable hoses. We can just make a nice pile out back of things that we think that maybe a new homeowner or yourself would want to use. But there's just a ton that can go. Thanks.